Hey, everybody. It's Kevin Davidson, your host for Kevin's Corner, real estate from a marketing perspective. This is episode number 43, and I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. We're getting up there in episodes, and I always start up my podcast the same way by saying, first of all, if you see the podcast and you are a real estate agent or a vendor that operates in the Fort Bend County area and you want to be on the podcast, give me a call, 832-654-0527. Or if you want to email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com, and I'll be happy to put you on the calendar. I'm booked out for a few months, but I can eventually get you on. And at the same time, I also want to thank Jennifer Smitis, who is the area vice president, for whom, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do this podcast. And at the same time, Caitlin Kornick and Devin, the escrow officers, and the staff at Sugarland, and then Wendy Santana and Adriana Ozalte, the escrow officers, and the rest of the staff in the Richmond office. And if you're not using Stewart Title for title, shame on you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. So let's get the podcast started, episode number 43. If you are in real estate in the Fort Bend County area and you don't know who this is, I don't know what to tell you.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. So this is Saleta Patterson. I'll let you introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. My name is Saleta Patterson. I'm with Wazell Properties. I've been a realtor for 4 years now. My specialty would be new construction home. I love having new first-time home buyers and walking them through the process. I do business wherever you like to go, anywhere in Houston, of course. I've done business in Spring, New Caney, even Baytown. So I am your girl.
She says even Baytown. Like, why would I do that in Baytown? So no disrespect to anybody that lives in Baytown.
No, meaning that I travel. I go all over.
Yeah.
So wherever you want to go, I'm that realtor for you.
Yeah. So Saleta came to me about a year and a half ago or so, a little over a year ago.
Yes.
I don't remember how we met, but
I came to one of your class through Women's Council.
that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we just started working together, me helping you with your marketing and things
Yes.
like that. Now you're working a lot in the new construction side of the real estate. But tell everybody why you got into real estate in the first place.
Oh, the real story or
Well,
the fluff story?
the PG story.
Okay, so funny story, because I have a lot of story, but funny story is that my mom a few years ago, she wanted to move to Texas. So we went shopping for her
From where?
from New York. So
Everybody wants to move to Texas from New York.
And side story, she haven't moved yet, but this year's supposed to be the year. But at that moment, we were looking for homes, and I went into Meridiana. It was Meridiana Shea Home, to be exact, and we just fell in love with that builder and that product that they were doing. And the sales lady was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so nice. You should consider it." So months later, 2019, I decided to secretly go get my license because I was really on my mom going to move and I'm going to surprise her and be her realtor. So that's the fun story, is that I became a realtor just so I could be my mom realtor, and she was going to buy a home, and she hasn't bought a home yet, but this year's going to be the year. So I remember going to school, and secretly she would call the kids up like, "Where's your mom?" And they was like, "She's at school." And she's like, "School?" And then I'm like, "Mom, you know these kids." I just told them that because I was out shopping, and I secretly went to
She
Champions.
believed you?
Because she know I like
I
shopping.
want to meet your mom.
So for months I kept a secret, and then I finally got my license, and I called her and I'm like, "Mom, I'm a realtor now and I could buy your home." And she was so excited. So that's really the fun fact of how I got into be a realtor for my mom. But then COVID hit. Got my license in the 2019. COVID hit 2020, and I was still working at Chick-fil-A, and I remember one of my coworker was like, "Oh my gosh, Saleta, when you become a realtor, can you buy my mom? Can my mom use him? Can my mom buy a house?" And that was my first. Shout out to Cassie, her mom, Rose, was my first client. My Chick-fil-A parent bought a home with me, and it was a blast. But then it was COVID, so we couldn't really see houses like we wanted. We put in so many offers, and we were getting outbid. It was a roller coaster, but we did it. She's a military. She retired, and I enjoy every moment going out with her. She was my
Yeah,
first.
during COVID, buying a house was a challenge.
Yes.
Prices were inflated, and everybody was buying houses.
Yes.
So
It was difficult for you to win any kind of offer.
mhm.
So that's how fast forward when I became a full-time realtor back in 2022, I retired from Chick-fil-A.
I didn't know you could do that.
Retired after 9 years from Chick-fil-A and said, I'm going to be a full-time realtor. And I remember I called myself playing real estate those past 2 years before me saying I'm retiring, right? So I was like, I was playing real estate. Now I'm going to become realtor and become that expert per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I first got on the journey of being full-time, I started saying, hey, I remember I wouldn't get no offer. I couldn't get my offer accepted, I should say. I couldn't get none of my offer accepted. And I was like, for me to get offers accepted, they have to know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started networking, going. I said, for me to be confident as a realtor, I have to know my stuff. I can't fake it till I make it. That's not me. You could tell. I'm not a faker, right? So I was like, I had to learn how to be a realtor, and knowing about the market, know what it is, and learning the areas, the south side, the southeast side. The way coming from New York, we didn't consider it was either Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island. But here's like, oh, I'm in the south side. Oh, I live in the north side. And I'm like, what? So I had to learn how to really know my area, the zip codes, and what area they consider to be what, So it was a learning experience for me, and I enjoyed it. And I'm still learning. I'm always learning.
But you love being a real estate agent now.
Yes.
You're glad you made the decision to do that.
Yes, to be full time.
And you're going to charge your mom double when she decides to finally buy a house. Because you got your license because of her.
Yes.
And we're 2 years later and she's still in New York. Tell her I said hi, by the way.
Later,
4 years later. It makes it even worse.
Yes.
What is the biggest difference between living in New York versus living in Houston,
Ooh.
Texas? This for you, not for realtors, but for Saleta.
Okay, so for Saleta. So for me, it depends on how we look at it, right? So living in New York, I enjoy the fact that I had family. I have all my family, cousin, mom, everybody there, right? Brothers and sisters. Living here, it just me and the kiddos. But what makes it good for me is that I've got a relationship with so many people and so many realtors, and I've becoming a realtor full time. I've gone to so many different areas of Houston. When I was a manager at Chick-fil-A, I would just work at Chick-fil-A, stay in Missouri City, go to Pearland. My son was in football, so then the only time I would see other parts is when we do football games and stuff like that. But now, as a realtor, I am traveling all over. So I got to really love Houston, right? And love the fact that there's something to do. And it's such a good community in terms of raising your kids. Like, if you have kiddos, it's good for you to travel. It's good for you to bring your kids. You have soccer, football, whatever sports you want to get them in. That's good on the family aspect of it, right? And then for jobs, we have a lot of jobs here. You can do oil and gas. You have the Tesla. You have so many big companies that's coming here in Houston. So even if you don't have kids and you're single, it's still good for you to move for your job, for family, for whatever it is, whatever reason that you're looking for, it's good for you to come here. Versus New York, I remember living there for 10 years, and I didn't do a lot of stuff because I'm always working. I'm grinding. It's grinding, right? So now that I travel to New York, I act like a tourist, and I do all the tourist stuff. And
You wear the I Love New York shirt?
Yes, I get the I Love New York. We go do all these, and my mom be like, what? It's funny story because we were there for Christmas, and we went to see the 9/11 memorial. And remind you, I lived in New York when that happened. And I remember where I was when the Twin Tower fell, but I never went until last year when we went for Christmas. So that goes to show that when you're there, you're grinding. And I love New York City. It's good for food. It's good for shopping. And it's really good. But when it comes on to raising your kids, I'm happy that I made the decision of moving here and having, my two little ones born here. My son, funny story, because I always have a story. My oldest is 21.
One today.
And he was born in New York, and he lived here since he was 5. But when you ask him, he said, I'm from New York. And I'm like, boy, you live here longer than you lived in New York. But for him, he repped that New York. I was born in New York, and he's so proud.
He's not a Texan. He's a New Yorker.
Yes.
Well, he'll get over that when he gets old, when he grows older and sees about the money part of it.
Yeah.
So he'll change. Tell everybody what you do to market yourself and everything since you decided you needed to get yourself out there.
So one of my market tactics would be Instagram, Facebook. Always, a lot of people love it when I go do home tours. So I love doing home tours, and I love to show them that, hey, this is, and I remember you telling me, he taught me this one. I was always behind the camera, and Kevin was like, stop being behind the camera. You need to be face forward. They need to see you. And I'm like, oh, my goodness.
My face wasn't like that. I was telling her nice.
That's how I interpret it.
Wow.
But now, it's funny you said that, because whenever I make videos doing home tour, and I usually do only the home, but now I'm putting myself in it, and it gets more view because they do want to see you as a realtor. They want a couple things you should know. People want to work with you because they know you, like you, and trust you. And part of you showing that is you being in the front, and they can see you. They can see your authenticity, right? How genuine you are, how sincere you are. So they want to see that person who they're going to be potentially working with. So definitely that will be something that you should consider doing.
They can't know, like, and trust you if they don't ever see you or hear from you.
Yeah.
And if you're behind the camera, you don't get that accomplished. So it's and a lot of agents, that's difficult for them because they're like, I'm shy, or I'm scared of the camera. I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. My answer for that is always get over it, because the number one way to market anything today is video.
Yes.
So if you, and it's not me saying that, it's statistics, look it up. So if you're not doing video, you're missing out on using the number one way to get your brand out there. And most agents, when they get over the hump and they start doing the video, like, you know who Sarah Goetz is?
Yes.
Okay. She was terrified. She calls me up one day all hysterical. I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, I did my first video and I don't know what the problem was. This is so fun. I'm like, I told you, So once you just start doing it, you'll eventually, just like riding a bike, you'll eventually figure it out. And, you don't worry about what everybody thinks about what they're seeing in your video. They're not responsible for paying your bills. And usually when people criticize you, it's not because that you're doing a bad job. It's because they're jealous.
Yes.
Bored. But my point is do it the way you want to do it, because that's what you want people to get to know you as. Yes. No one likes politicians right now. No one likes, business suit people with ties that every time they see them on the social media, they look exactly the same. Change your outfits, change the environment you're doing the video in. If you have a hobby,
showcase that sometimes.
Showcase the hobby in the video, because what's going to happen is you're going to meet people that contacted you because they also have the same hobby, and now you don't have to sell your service. Yeah. You got something in common.
Yes.
And now you're talking about, they called you to ask them to help you buy a house, but you've been talking about guitars for the last 2 hours. So it's just, it works. Yes. So, and you mentioned networking, and I know you're a social butterfly, so you're like everywhere. What else do you like to do?
Oh,
marketing wise, or maybe something that you want to do in the future, marketing wise, that you're not doing now.
I think one of my marketing that I'm going to try and do next is YouTube. Like how you're doing, not a podcast though. I wouldn't do a podcast, but
what's wrong with a podcast? We're on a podcast right now.
Yeah, but I feel like that eventually I get there. I would never say never. I'm not a person that say never, but I want to start off with doing more videos for YouTube and kind of branding that platform, because I haven't tapped into that one yet. So that's on my to-do list.
Create your company name, create your logo, create your slogan, and then put that everywhere with your face.
With my face.
And people will start to recognize that that's Saleta Patterson. I mean, think about it. Name one company that does not have a logo, slogan, or a company name.
It's funny you say
Zero
that, because I was just talking to a friend of mine that I wanted to do that with my open house, to start making branding open house sign with my face. So, yes.
It's coming. Open house signs with her face on them. Don't know if that's good or bad, but we're going to see them.
It's going to be good, guys. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. So you specialize in new builds and everything, but will you help people that want to buy a resale house or sell?
Yes.
Okay.
I've worked with resellers. I've worked with investors. I love investors.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And what about, will you help people lease a property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What do leasers turn into?
Eventually they're going to buy or eventually they're going to sell.
And
Most
what do
definitely.
buyers turn into? Sellers. And when they
Yes.
sell their house, what do they need? Another house to live in.
There we go.
There's 4 transactions with
In
one
one.
person. So, and the same things to be said with the real estate investor.
Yes.
A good real estate investor gets a hold of you and says, help me find my next investment property. That's one transaction. Then they want you to rent it for them because they're going to buy and hold. There's another transaction. And then they decide to sell it 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road when they get equity. There's another transaction. And then they want to replace. Now you got 4 transactions with one person in one deal.
One deal.
So there's a lot to be said for people or agents that don't want to work with renters. I know that most new agents in the beginning of your career, you're basically taking any lead you can get. Don't pass up the renters because renters can be gold mines later. Tell everybody, as we wrap up the podcast, tell everybody something about Saleta Patterson that you would like them to know if they're looking for real estate.
Oh, wow. I think they've known a lot, but just in case you
One
missed
more.
anything.
There's one more.
Hi, my name is Saleta Patterson. If you're looking for a realtor that's going to make sure that you have the best experience, that is me. I'm all about making sure that I take you from point A to point B and always hold your hand. I am that one that's going to hold your hand. Now, if you don't need somebody to hold your hand, I won't hold your hand. But if you are looking for someone that's going to guide you, I am here for you. I do work with an awesome title company. So if you're looking to sell, I have the title company that's ready for you. I've also worked with a couple of blenders that if you need anything, they're going to be there to definitely guide you through the process from how to start getting your loan, how the process going while you having your loan, and closing, they'll show up to be there for you. I have all the people you need. I have inspectors. So if you know, when you're buying a property, you do need to have an inspector.
We got one coming up.
Yeah. There you go. So whatever you need, I have a team, literally a team behind me, and I'm always here to support you. And if I don't know the answer, I have someone that definitely give you that answer. So I would love to gain your trust. I would love to work with you, and call me. My phone number is 832-427-2825. And if you need to email me, it's saleta.patterson@yahoo.com.
Remember, guys, that's important. She's got a team behind her that she helps her with her business, and not a lot of agents have that. So she can help you with any aspect of the buying or selling transaction, leasing transaction, or investing transaction. Give him your phone number one more time.
832-427-2825.
Saleta Patterson, guys. She's been on the podcast before. She'll be on it again later. So look for her out there. She is an upcoming real estate agent, and we love working with her here at Stewart Title.
And that's actually my direct number.
There you go.
I usually give out the Google number.
No spooky people, okay? Just business only.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll be right back with segment number 2 of episode number 43 with Jonathan Lang from Texas Real Estate Inspection Services. And I hope I got that right. Bye, guys.
Bye.